Tiki Barber.
Thank you, guys. Thank you on the Revel. Thank you, Lulu, for having me. We met about a month ago. Fell in love a little bit. Thank you, Lulu, for having me. So let me explain why I'm here. I'm a 1997 graduate of the University of Virginia. I was a computer geek there. Wahoo is right. Studied management information systems and design, and then got sidetracked professionally for about a decade, playing for the New York Giants. I retired at just the right time, too. For those who don't know sports, that would be you. They won a Super Bowl right after I left. But I left because I wanted to get into being an entrepreneur, and I started a couple of businesses. One was in the housing market, Tahira, with Steve Ross in 2008. Beautiful timing, just like my football career. And then I started another business in the influencer marketing space called Thusio and Julius. One of my members is actually here, Scott McGregor, right down front. It's a small world. It's all about relationships, which led to the new business that I'm starting called Grove Group Management. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer there, and I'm in charge of finding the opportunities that we believe will grow in this space. Well, let's give me a little bit of a background here. I grew up not doing any kind of illegal or illicit substance. My mom scared into me that drinking alcohol or smoking marijuana was going to ruin my career. And I believed it. And it probably did help me get through the early part of my life and into the National Football League and the successes that I had there. But along the way, you always, I'm sure as I did, as I'm sure all of you did as well, would have that friend or acquaintance, quasi-friend, who would smoke a joint behind the trash can, who would take a couple sips of beer, or even lots of sips of beer, because they needed to come down from something. And as I started to grow older, I started to realize that it wasn't just athletes, as we've seen in the National Football League, get suspended for 4 games or 8 games or even 4 seasons because they're smoking marijuana. The test is easy to beat, by the way. They test one time a year. You get tested. If you're stupid enough to get caught, it's your fault. But what happens over and over and over and over again? And I started to wonder and ask myself, what would compel these guys to smoke marijuana when they know that the NFL is testing for substances of abuse? I didn't realize that answer until I became a professional. And then I had friends who weren't football players, but would sit in their apartments on the Upper East Side and do the same thing. Some of them had great lives. Some of them had issues in their lives. And what you start to realize is that people are self-medicating. And that was one of the catalysts that brought me to the cannabis space. There's a distinct philosophy that we at Grove Group Management are looking to espouse. One, that there are going to be a lot of businesses that come into this space. And just like any capital market, a lot of them are going to fail because they don't have the right resources. They either don't have the marketing, the branding. In this space, they don't have licensing expertise. Or maybe they don't even have the interactions with law enforcement. And so when we started Grove Group Management, we wanted representation from all of those spaces. A couple of my partners are here. Jimmy Frischling, who is our president, is here. Bob DeSena in the back, who is our chief marketing officer, is here. Andy Ahn is also here. What we decided to do was build a group that had everything that you might need, whether it was licensing or law enforcement expertise, a knowledge, essentially, so that you could grow your business. And the beauty of doing it this way is that we can dance in all the spaces. And so I have slides here, too, just like Tahira, but I don't know what they are specifically. I'll look at them. The only one that matters, really, is this last one, which is our group. They're all guys, yes. We will eventually grow women into our board. Would you like to be a part? Do you have an expertise that could benefit this? I agree. By the way,
Okay, we're going to have a Q&A. We're going to have a Q&A later. So,
by the way, we are less than 2 months old. We haven't been in this space for as long as.
we got an interactive
Would you
portion
like to
coming
come
up now.
challenge me?
Okay.
Come, let's have a conversation. Come here.
All right, here we go. Let's get her a microphone.
I'm TIKI Barber. Pleasure to meet you. Bobby
Okay,
Bailey.
here you go. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Barbara Bailey. I think many of you know me.
I don't know you, so explain to me what you do.
I'm an investor in this space.
Okay.
And I believe that if you have 40% women in your company, on your boards, and in all your peripherals, you'll make more money.
Why?
Because women make 86% of every decision, business to business, consumer to business.
Is that empirical or is that just anecdotal?
No, that's Catalyst numbers.
Yes.
And those are well-known numbers in this. Okay. Right? How many women in this group?
All right. Is that...
Tiara.
No, I'm just asking you questions. This is what I do for a living. I interview. So tell me what have been the most successful investments that you've made?
Real estate.
All real estate.
Mixed use.
Do you
with
think
women with women investors and women partners.
Do you think that that's going to evolve? Do you think that the
Do
plant...
I think it's evolving in cannabis?
No.
Yes, I do, Kiki.
No.
I do.
Tiki with a T.
Tiki.
If you want to call me by my real
T-I-K-I?
name, it's a team.
How do you
but
say it?
a team is my real name.
I like that.
But all businesses in consumable spaces like this start with real estate. But what does it evolve into is the question. Right? It used to be, when I used to think about this business, it was who can put the most plants in the ground. You know, in the internet age, it
That
was
was
how
about
many
40
eyes
years
can you
ago.
get? Of course it was. But you just said real estate. So where is next? Where is the opportunity next? Since you've been investing in this space.
I think the opportunity for me is in science, is in technology, and in basic infrastructure. But science is the driver in this industry. As Tahira was saying earlier, we don't have enough data, but we're getting data from all over the world. Her former company supports 7 researchers. So I think science is going to be our driver. We need to know more. We need to know more medical.
Yeah. What are the biggest technologies that could affect this space?
Data analytics.
Data analytics only? What about delivery?
Absolutely. Everything. I mean, data is infused in everything, but today collecting the data and being able to interpret it from artificial intelligence,
Okay.
machine learning,
deep
learning.
I have a follow-up.
I should give the floor back.
No. I like sharing the floor, especially because you seem to know what you're talking about. But let me ask you this important question.
A woman, right?
No, trust me. There is a stigma associated with marijuana. How do you capture data from people who don't necessarily want to give you
You're talking
data?
about consumer data. That's not the only important data to capture.
But is
The
it not
data-
important?
What?
Is it not important?
Absolutely. Every piece of data is important. Every piece of data is important.
So tell me, what
But
data are you talking about
But
then?
consumer is just a small piece of the industry.
Well, inform me.
No, you inform me about what you're doing, because you're the
All right, well, let's give him a chance to do that. Thank you very much. Let's give her a round of applause. We will have an interactive portion so we can continue that conversation possibly.
What's that?
But
No, it is, look, for anyone to pretend that they're an expert in this space, a full expert in this space would be a fool's errand. There's so much that's going to be learned. There's so much that we just don't know. There's so much in the political landscape that we can't influence. We can try, and I think relationships are a big part of that. But to act like we know all the answers would be false, and it's not something that we wouldn't do. One of the beauties of our group, as I mentioned, is that we want to learn, and then we want to disseminate that information. And it's really a conversation. That's why it was important for me to call you up here after you challenged me, to have a conversation. Because if you're not having a conversation, you're talking to yourself. And that's never been successful in the history of the world, even though we're trying to in this country. I'm going to step off. We'll come back.
yeah.
for
Well,
the-
stick up.